The drum spoke that night. Not in riddles, not in music, but in voices, real voices. And they were screaming. I didn't mean to play it. I didn't even know it could make that kind of sound. I just thought it was an old drum, dusty and forgotten in my uncle's small storage hut. He always had strange things lying around, things he said he collected from his travels as a trader. I was staying with him for the school holidays in his quiet village, far from the city where I lived with my parents. The drum caught my eye the moment I saw it. It was small, no bigger than a stool, with dark, shiny wood and a stretched animal skin top. Carved around its edges were tiny, intricate symbols, too detailed for something so ordinary. I asked my uncle about it, but he just laughed, saying, "That drum. It belonged to a lost village. A ghost town. Nobody goes there anymore. It's just a souvenir." I should have left it alone. But one evening, while he was out visiting a neighbor, I couldn't resist. I sat on the floor of the hut and tapped it lightly with my fingers. It made a soft, hollow sound, nothing unusual. Then, I struck it harder, and that's when everything changed. The first hit sent a strange vibration through my hands. It was warm, like touching a stone left in the sun. The second strike brought a low hum, and suddenly, I wasn't alone anymore. The air around me grew cold, and the drum started vibrating on its own. The carved symbols began to glow faintly, like embers in a dying fire. That's when the voices started. They were loud and panicked, like people crying for help. "We're here. Please. Don't leave us," they shouted, overlapping in a chaotic mess of words. I froze. My hands were still on the drum, but I wasn't hitting it anymore. It was playing itself. The hut felt smaller, darker. Shadows crawled along the walls, moving like they were alive. One voice stood out from the rest, deep and commanding. "You've awakened us. Do you know what you've done?" it said. I tried to speak, but my mouth wouldn't work. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. Then the voice said something I'll never forget: "You're in our place now. You'll bring us back." Suddenly, I wasn't in the hut anymore. I was standing in a village, a dead one. The huts were broken, the ground was dry and cracked, and the trees were blackened like they'd been burned. The air smelled rotten. I could see people, or what looked like people, walking around. Their skin was grey, their eyes hollow. They weren't alive, but they moved as if they were. I tried to run, but my feet wouldn't move. One of them, a woman with long, matted hair, turned to me. Her mouth opened, but it wasn't words that came out, it was the same low hum the drum had made. Then everything went dark. I woke up in the storage hut, drenched in sweat. The drum was gone. I ran outside to find my uncle, shaking and trying to explain what had happened. But when I told him about the drum, his face went pale. "That drum wasn't a souvenir," he said quietly. "It was a warning. The village it came from, no one survived. They say it disappeared into the forest, cursed. And now you've called them back." We burned the hut that night. Everything inside, including the drum. But even now, back in the city, I can still hear it sometimes, soft, distant, like it's waiting. Waiting for someone else to play it.